I am here to explain how Oriental medicine cures cancer. First, we'll start with theoretical basement. If you want to know the practical treatment of cancer first, you can start with lecture 2. And here we'll help a lot of patients and improve the quality of their life. For example, most cancer patients have digestive problems, but with Oriental medicine, it is easy to control digestive problem. So I'll explain the theoretical basement of Oriental medicine with dimension analysis. We know the highest dimension in our bodies, our brain, and acupuncture, which is to control neuron and nerve, is the best tool control common disease. And I explain how main treatment points are recorded in our skin using holographic theorem and comparison between brain and black hole. And using this theoretical basement, I will explain main treatment point. The acupuncture points are recorded in our face because it is the closest region from brain. First, dimension analysis is invented by Richard Feynman, who got Nobel Prize for gauge boson, and is famous for Feynman diagram. In a short way, dimension analysis is to balance both sides of an equation. So when right side has a time variable, left side should have time variable. So for example, in these Pascal equations, both sides have a variable of pressure. And modern physics developed dimension analysis for time to be same with 1 per energy and for space to be same with 1 per momentum. For example, in this Schrödinger equation, there's energy variable in the right side and there's 1 per time variable in left side. So this is a good result of modern dimension analysis. So as we can see, modern physics have developed dimension analysis more deeper, and this lecture will develop dimension analysis more deeper using common properties of dimension. We will see the basic property of dimension. General relativity says dimension is a concept of space and time, and n dimension has n variables, which is independent variables of space and time. Hologram theory say that when a geometry has a divergence, the dimension of it gets more dimensions. And for dimension to increase, all variables should make an orthogonal relation. And the outside and inside of sphere with divergence has orthogonal relation. The n-dimensional function can be n plus 1 dimensional function when range works as a domain. 2 axes make a circle, 4 axes make a sphere. And Flatland says to see an object 1 dimension higher than the dimension of the object is needed. To define an object 1 dimension higher than the dimension of the object is needed. Low dimension cannot see higher dimension in one shot. Object is only seen as each section which has 1 dimension less than the origin object. The lower dimension involves the property of higher dimension, so the property working on higher dimension works on lower dimension. In this region, proof on higher dimension works on lower dimension always. Dot is surrounded by null, line is surrounded by dot, plane is surrounded by line, body is surrounded by plane. We can't think dot, line, plane, and body. We only see body which is seen as a plane. You can think null, dot, line, plane, and body, which each section of dot, line, plane, and body is null, dot, line, plane. Plane function needs body graph, line function needs plane graph, and body function needs line graph to be expressed. One-dimensional function is the shape of dot. Two-dimensional function is the shape of line. Three-dimensional function is the shape of plane. Quantum mechanics says in lower dimension, higher dimensional object is seen as object with divergence. Hypothesis of physics says divergence makes an object to have higher dimension unit. Dot uses in a line, line uses in a plane, plane uses in a body. Linear algebra says in dot null function exists in a line, dot function exists in a plane, line function exists in a body, plane function exists. N-dimensional function includes functions with lower dimension. N-dimension needs n variances to express the dimension. One axis is homomorphic to one-dimensional function, two axes are homomorphic to two-dimensional function, and n axes are homomorphic to n-dimensional function. To have a divergence, high-dimensional angle is needed. The level of dimension is the number of axes to express the dimension. Set theory says the velocity of divergence is constant. Analysis. Dimension analysis. Now we will compare the dimension of brain and our body. The brain is a neuron system consists of our body with digestive system and heart blood system. So neuron system is a section of our body. The region 13, 14, 30 rule. Neural system is one dimension lower than our body. Number 30 rule. Object is only seen as a section of the object which has one dimension less than the dimension of origin object. Number 14. Section has one dimension less than the dimension of origin object. Number 30. N-dimensional function includes low dimensional functions. Because it's 13, neural system is one property of our body. With 40 rule, neural system should be one dimension lower than our body, and with 30 rule, a function in our body which has higher dimension than our body doesn't exist, so a function of neural system should have one dimension lower than the one of our body. And in neuroscience, brain is 4-dimensional, so we can define our body as 5-dimensional. So what is a cancer? Cancer is a disease which is related with blood vessel. Within blood system, it is transferred to whole body. So M1 degree or M2 degree cancer should have a lower dimension than the one of blood system. Brain is same dimension as neural system because brain is a corner of neural system, which means brain inherits the property of neural system and it becomes an independent group. But M1 degree and 2 degree cancer cannot be independent groups, so it should be 1-dimensional lower than blood system, which is 4-dimensional. So as we stop the increase of cancer and increase the function of our body, like digestive system and immune system, we can cure cancer, which is explained by number 4 and number 8 rule. Number 4, 4-dimension to increase all variables should make an organization. Number 8, endowment function can be n plus 1-dimensional function when range work as domain. As rule 4, an organization can make higher dimension because organ remains one of the variable. As rule 8, an organ combination of all variables in function makes higher dimension. We know autonomic nervous system can control vessel. So autonomic nervous system is domain and vessel is range, and in this way each system affects each other so they can be both domain and range. And they are organic enough as we know, so these systems can make higher dimension. So cure using autonomic nervous system and other systems would be high dimensional, which is very efficient. So within this theory, we can even conquer metastasis cancer, and acupuncture, our medicine, and health management are needed to cure the disease within good luck. So first, we need drugs which control whole system like digestive system and nervous system, which are connected to autonomic nervous system. For example, if you are 10 people, you have weak respiratory system and vascular system, but strong liver system. Oriental medicine can control your body as a whole field and increase the function of respiratory vascular system using autonomic nervous system. So Oriental treatment is 5-dimensional because it controls our body as a whole system, which explains the miracle case. There was a miracle case where some people cured their cancer with pembrolizumab, which is used to eliminate bugs in dogs. If they were some people, it can be possible. Within proper diagnosis, there are so many drugs we can use in nature. The genome of R varies a lot, as the human body is 5-dimensional. Whole spectrum of genome is 6-dimensional. So we can use 6-dimension to cure a 5-dimensional body. So in lecture 2, let me start with the way to control nervous system within acupuncture. And in lecture 3, we'll talk about the way to control digestive system within herbal medicine. In lecture 4, we'll talk about the way to control endocrine system with Oriental medicine. In lecture 5, we will talk about respiratory vascular system with herbal medicine. In last lecture, we'll talk about how we control this whole system in one way and introduce how we can classify humans in 4 types. And next lectures, I'll introduce a lot of clinical cases where so many cancer patients get cured. Cancer is like a midterm exam. With a proper strategy, we can be a winner. So follow these lectures and be a winner.